Your hate does not make America great.
That's right.
Well, I think we both agree. No hate would make a country great.
That's right.
But that doesn't mean that anyone who votes for Donald Trump is hateful, does it?
That's true. It doesn't mean that.
Okay, good. All right. Because, a lot of these, that's why we sit down and do this, to try and cut through the sound bites and signage so we can actually have a conversation.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. Well, the fact that you got where you are and you've got this power, a woman could have done it, but it would have been a lot harder for her. So male privilege is this idea that your life is not, being a male doesn't mean you don't have difficulty or challenge.
Sure.
It just means that your gender is not one of the things making your life more challenging.
Okay. And that is exclusive to males?
I mean, there's all kinds of different privileges, but,
okay.
But in terms of gender...
So there could be female privilege as well?
No, not really. No, I don't think so.
Okay, so then how would you, I guess, sort of substantiate that?
Substantiate?
Yeah, why? What allows you to make the presupposition that my life inherently as a male is easier than a female, and that privilege only exists for males? See, that's where I have a disconnect.
All right. I mean, I could pull up some stats, but I mean, generally we know that women make less money than men.
Really? Okay.
Women are the victims of rape and sexual violence at the hands of men much more often.
Okay.
Than the other way around.
Right.
And you kind of just go down the list of the ways that women get screwed over in our society, and that
I appreciate you.
Yeah,
by the way, you're making a great. I want you to continue. You're making a great case. So it was paid more.
Yeah.
Raped more women.
Yeah.
And please, continue. But I just want to make sure I keep track of them. These are great. This is the whole point. I just want to hear what you.
Yeah. No. I mean, I haven't looked at the whole list of just sort of. Even just
that's a good start.
It's something as simple as the lived experience of women.
Right.
Where my wife, she would have loved to have this conversation with you, but her job prevents her from doing that. Mm-hmm. She can't be on camera. But her experience is she walks down the street, and depending on the men that are there, she's objectified. She's turned into a sexual object by a group of men who are saying, "Oh yeah, I want to do this and that to your body."
That's a really valid point. So walking down the street.
Yeah, just not feeling safe in your own skin or feeling like you can be a full human being. Whereas me, I don't have to worry what I wear when I walk out the house. I don't have to worry if I have a tank top that my cleavage is showing and that I'm going to get unwanted attention.
Good point.
So that's Crowder. You're great. You're great. This is a.
Well, I'm sitting. I just want to listen first and hear you. Because I think maybe where we would agree is legally there are no recognized rights that men enjoy in 2020. I don't know if you do that. I still keep saying 2019.
Yeah.
There are no legally recognized rights afforded to men in 2020, not afforded to women. So we would agree on that, and you're talking more so societal sort of ramifications.
Well, and actually, I'm not sure about that. Women got the right to vote in 1920, so we're 100 years on from that, so they can vote.
Yeah.
But what other things are in there that, I'm not sure that legally there aren't biases against women still.
Yeah.
There may be, there may not be.
I don't think there are.
Okay. Well,
and that's what I'm saying. If you have some, I would be willing to hear.
No, I don't have any, but I would be curious to look and see. So maybe, for example, if you, this whole abortion thing, if you have a child and the child isn't healthy because you were taking drugs at the time because you're an addict or whatever, and then you get thrown in jail for child abuse. The woman's getting thrown in jail. The man who impregnated her is not getting thrown in jail. Maybe that's something to look at as far as a standard that impacts women.
I'm sorry, I'm just a little
differently than it does men.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but
No, go ahead.
Do you mean that if a mother abuses her child and goes to jail, you believe the father should go to jail?
No, I'm saying in terms of prenatal drug use, and you have a child born with some or that's not healthy because they were doing drugs. They were doing drugs, or they just didn't get the right prenatal care, and that's considered abuse. I'm not really sure. I'm just saying.
Well, I just want to make sure that
if we had this conversation 100 years ago and a day, then it would be like, well, clearly women are legally not don't have the same rights
as far as voting.
Yeah, for example. But what other examples could there be that we don't pay attention to or aren't as pivotal as the right to vote.
So I want to make sure that I understand too. You brought up the idea of women are raped more often.
Yeah.
The idea that women are paid less, being able to walk down the street. And I just wanted to see where we find common ground. Sounds to me like today we probably agree that it's not really a legal issue as far as rights afforded. You're talking more about societal issues, which I think is a valid point.
Right.
I think it sort of discredits the argument.
Person issue, really.
Yeah.
It's like, how do we treat our neighbors and our friends or people we don't know?
How do we treat our women?
Yeah,
I think it's really important.
Yep.
Before we get to those, I know you mentioned women getting the right to vote. How did that happen?
My understanding is that there was women suffragists who went out and marched just like we're doing now, so that women could cast a ballot.
Right. And was that most women
that did that?
Yeah.
I don't think most women were out there, but I don't know.
Okay.
I wish I were as good at. Do you know?
Well, I'm questioning because I don't understand. Like you were saying that men obviously were in positions of power as when you first sat down.
Yeah.
And
look at that. Yeah. Congress is.
Well, hold on, going back to when they got the right to vote.
Okay.
So how does a woman cast a ballot to get the right to vote if she can't vote?
She has to agitate. She has to.
So who gave the right to vote? I guess is my question.
Who gave them the right to vote?
Who switched the law so that women could vote?
Well, the men in power must have decided that they should do that. Yeah.
Good for them. Progressive men at that point.
I don't know if I could pat them on the back. I mean, it should have been done. It should have been like the.
Well, someone had to do it. Well, let me ask you this. What if, let's say Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, right? Let's say Abraham Lincoln outlawed slavery, and let's say slaves themselves didn't want to be free. This is not the case. I'm just saying a hypothetical, right?
Where's this going?
Well, I'm saying with the women's suffrage movement, wouldn't those people deserve to be praised if, for example, the overwhelming majority of women didn't want the right to vote? They were the ones advocating against it, not men. So wouldn't the men deserve the praise if they gave them the right to vote when women didn't want it?
I'm totally confused by this question.
The majority of women didn't want the right to vote. They were against it. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Do you know why?
I did not know that. No,
yeah,
why?
The reason why was because they thought that it would actually increase their work burden, decrease their quality of life, and a lot of people don't know this, but when you had to vote, it was actually a privilege in the sense that you had to either be a landowner, you were eligible for the draft.
But why would
Bucket Brigade? Are you in a Bucket Brigade?
No.
That's where it's mandatory firefighting service, right? And so women didn't want the right to vote, which is kind of interesting. A lot of people assume they did. Men wanted women to have the right to vote.
Why do people fight so hard against these groups getting their rights to vote if it's such a burden?
Well, my point is they didn't. There wasn't a push to vote, and then when it came to a vote, most women didn't want it. It was the men who passed it. So would that change, assuming I'm not lying, would that change your opinion at all if men, even in the face of a majority of women not wanting the right to vote, said, you know what, it's the right thing to do, you should still have the right to vote? Do they deserve any praise? No?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
But I do think your points.
This is really good because I need to learn about history because I think that's very powerful that you're aware of these things and you can pull out these factoids that.
Well, that's a factoid. That's pretty big. A factoid would be like, a black widow's venom is 15 times more potent than that of a diamondback rattlesnake. The fact that a majority of women didn't want the right to vote is kind of, we've been lied to at large.
Yeah.
If I'm not lying now.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm definitely going to go look that up. And I appreciate, and I didn't mean to disparage your factoid.
No, I appreciate it.
This is history.
I'm a white male, I can take it. You can call me a piece of shit for all I care. I understand it. As far as the other points that you made, let's go back through them. The idea of women paid more.
All right. Oh, also, okay,
well, then let me rattle off really quick. Right. Women aren't paid more for the same work. Women are actually not sexually abused or domestically abused more. And as far as the anecdotal idea that women can walk alone home at night, well, it wouldn't necessarily be the same for a 115-pound shrimpy man and a 180-pound female MMA fighter. So that's anecdotal. We can't really look at that statistically. But no, actually men are raped more often when you include the prison population. And that does matter because men are convicted much more harshly for the exact same crimes as women. As far as the 77 cents on the dollar, if you believe that, I think you really should do a little bit more research because all that does is compare the median income from women in the workforce to the median income of men in the workforce. It doesn't take into account hours worked. It doesn't take into account risk of labor. It doesn't take into account travel, time away from family. When you account for all of those facets, women actually, in most studies, make a little bit more than men, but exactly the same. So I think it's important that if we're going to have this conversation, and that's why I wanted you to sit down and speak, and I know some people came in hot, I think it does matter to speak the truth.
Watch Good Morning Mug Club live every Monday through Thursday at 10:15 Eastern.